It's been confirmed that Bryan Singer is returning to direct X-Men Apocalypse. Simon Kinberg is penning the screenplay from a story that he worked on with Singer and X2 scribes Michael Dougherty and Dan Harris. The film takes place a decade after Singer's X-Men Days of Future Past, and we'll see the return of first-class cast members, including James McAvoy as Professor X, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence as Raven, as well as Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. It's also being reported, however, that we will be introduced to a younger Cyclops, Storm, and Jean Grey. On that notion, Kinberg stated, "If we included some of the original X-Men like Storm and Jean and Scott and other in Apocalypse, yeah, we'd have to recast them, as Apocalypse takes place a good 20 years before the first X-Men, which was now insanely a good 10 to 15 years ago. It would be really hard to do. Halle Berry and Famke Janssen and Jimmy Marsden and others have done such wonderful jobs of bringing those parts to life and are so identified with those parts now. So it would be a tall task. But I also would have said before First Class that there would be no actors who can stand alongside Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart." Amy Rose, what do you make of all this X-Men news?
It is such a good time to be an X-Men fan right now. I'm just like basking in all the joy from this. First things first, Bryan Singer back to direct, amazing move. X-Men Days of Future Past still remains my favorite film of the year, at least in that domain, blockbusters. It's my favorite X-Men film by a lot, and I thought it did such an incredible job at just like utilizing where we're at technology-wise, giving each character their moment, like the action sequences, everything. I thought it was a brilliant film. Obviously, the controversy surrounding him has subsided after they saw how much money First Class has made them. I mean, Days of Future Past. So I'm really glad he's back to direct. You know, this is his 4th time directing an X-Men film. He knows what he's doing. He knows the property. Love that. Kinberg back, also great. I love the team doing this. X2, it wasn't in my faves, but I also thought it was a pretty solid film. And then we have the, obviously, recasting. I mean, it makes sense. It would not make sense to recast these other characters as the younger versions and then reintroduce. And obviously we got, I'm in spoiler territory for Days of Future Past at this point, so we got little nods of Famke and like some of the other characters, which was really fun. But frankly, I don't like what they did with Cyclops in the film rendition, so I'm looking forward to them maybe giving the character a little more justice and doing that right. I am most disappointed with Jean Grey's recasting because I love Famke Janssen. I think she is a goddess, and she completely was fabulous in that character. And then Halle Berry, I can't say I've actually loved her rendition of Storm either. She's adequate, she's also a goddess, but I just, I'm okay with it. So all in all, I'm so freaking excited for Apocalypse. I cannot wait to see how they get all that going on with Horsemen and everything. And I'm glad Singer is back, but the recasting, I mean, I do have faith in their team, but it will be interesting to see who they get this, because, you know, he's right. Kinberg is completely right. You would have never thought you could recast Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. I mean, they're so incredible, but Fassbender and McAvoy have done a great job, so we'll see who they get. Frosty, how do you take all this news?
I'm super excited that everyone's back for the movie, like you. I think that it might be sacrilege to some, but I do think you have to recast. I think that it doesn't make sense to have someone who's 20 years, you know what I mean? You have to recast. And I'm not sure what interview it was when I learned this, but I know that they're planning on doing Storm with a mohawk, and I don't think that that Halle is going to, you know, I don't think she's going to pull that off, and I think you need to have a new person, a new actor come in who's willing to own that and have 80s Storm. Yeah. And honestly, I'm so amped up to see that and to see what they're going to do. I'm very excited, and I do think that recasting is the way to go.
Yeah, Shnav?
Well, yeah, recasting, I'm excited about the recasting news. And I'm sure, just like in Days of Future Past, there'll be that little nugget. Maybe it's Wolverine having a dream, but maybe they'll bring Marsden and Famke back just for that little moment, you know? Or it could begin and end with, you know, the Days of Future Past present cast, and then we go back into the 80s, you know? There's so many possibilities that have been opened up because of Days of Future Past that recasting is no problem. I just want to see the X-Men, you know? And so I'm really excited. I didn't hear about that Storm with the mohawk. That just got me like, yeah, right. You know?
Did you guys like those three in those roles specifically, though? the three that are being recast? I'm curious your thoughts on that.
I liked X2 and the way that James Marsden was portrayed in Cyclops, and I liked him and Wolverine's back and forth. It was different. He wasn't the leader like he was and always most of the time is in X-Men. Maybe they're gonna correct that with this new version. They're gonna be like, no, Cyclops is the leader in this new version. So.
Well, the other thing, though, is when X2 came out, it's a whole different world with comic book movies, whole different world with movies in general, and I think now you can do a lot. And also, it comes down to, really it comes down to the script, because Storm has never really been written. I've never been a fan of the way Halle Berry portrays the role, but it also, she hasn't really been given that much to work with.
Right.
It's very hard to be like a one-dimensional character and make it three-dimensional when the words aren't there on the page. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what Simon does, Simon Kinberg, the screenwriter, with the script. But look, they have a great story to work with, and they have the great era of the 80s, and there's a lot you can do with this.
Dazzler cameo! Get that Dazzler cameo!
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious to see if they use this also to launch, if we see Gambit and Deadpool, and how they, bring this, because I mean, X-Men times. I mean, we're taking over the world, and it's a great, great time. But yeah, I really am curious to see, especially Channing Tatum as that character.
But I don't know if that can happen because it's going to be in the 80s.
Exactly.
So if you put in Gambit and stuff, it's going to be located in the 80s, and I'm not sure they want to.
How they would work that out.
Yeah, because this is one of those questions of this is definitely going to be interesting, because if they put characters in that time period, then they're locking them sort of in that era, and it'll be interesting to see. This is where they make some big decisions, but with Deadpool coming out, I think that's going to probably be more modern. But that's just a guess.
It would be interesting, though, because, or do the younger transitioning as well and introduce them as like a little tip of the hat, like, this is our universe expanding. Like, I don't know what they're going to do, because they play with time so much already, The
80s Apocalypse one will go to the 90s Image style, everybody with the pouches. That'll be fun. Like, that's why, it's perfect to bring in Deadpool then,
I'm so excited.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.